Hey, I'm just doing this video to talk about something real quick that seems kind of important. This isn't really one of the podcasts that I was doing. Not really. It's just a quick message I'm putting out there. I can write about it, but I don't really have a platform besides maybe Facebook. So I'm looking to start a blog. I'll just get started with the story, which was like last week, like on the 13th. So basically, this happened like whenever I go outside, people just stare at me. Some talk out loud because they might be with someone, and if I don't have headphones on, I'll hear it, and it just seems as if sometimes they try to get my attention. I'm usually by myself when I go outside, so I can't do much. I can't talk out loud when I'm alone because it looks like I'm crazy and like I'm talking to myself. Um, so I try to avoid that because people will see, and this has happened to me before. They all accuse me of talking to myself. So they're like, he's crazy. Like I've had family say that I was talking to myself when I really wasn't. So I and presumably everyone else has to kind of watch out. But like I said, it's not really that fair because when I go outside, I'm usually alone and everyone else is together and anything goes, apparently. So, um, I didn't talk to any girls. Because they just kind of stared. They don't talk to me first. They try to get me to talk to them first, but they just do weird stuff. Half of them are already with guys, and it doesn't make sense because there's a pretty good chance that they will get fucked anyway. So like there'll be a girl and a guy, and then I can't do anything because she's with a fucking guy. But these bitches are usually staring at me, and I'm like, why are you with a guy and staring at me? Like, what are you doing? And then they try to get me to talk, but I can't. Like, I mean, I can, but I choose not to because it doesn't make sense. I mean, it makes sense, but it seems like it doesn't make sense to other people. So, um, I just decline because there doesn't seem to be any point. Like I said, there could be a girl and a guy, and then like I could try to do something, but like I said, there's no point. But like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna, like ask her for her phone number, and she says okay, and she sucks his dick later that night. Like I'm just not fine with it. I'm not okay with it. I prefer a single chick. I don't give a fuck about anything else. And I prefer someone somewhat chaste and clean. Like I don't want to meet some chick who like got fucked the previous day and then we start talking. I'm just not fine with it. So I mean, this actually happened the other day. Um, I was kind of stoned, but I was on the train on my way home, and there's nowhere to sit. Like there's nowhere to sit comfortably. Um, so I just sat down where I could, but like, and this is after escaping the previous car on the train. So I moved to a different car and sat where I could, but I just stopped bothering searching too much. So I just chose a seat, and then I sat, and to the right on the opposing chair, there was a generic average Mexican dude with his Mexican bitch who was moderately attractive, but like she kept staring at me, and it seemed as if she kept trying to get me to talk and say something. Like I said, I was alone, so I didn't really feel like talking out loud, and I didn't feel like introducing myself to someone so we could talk like out loud. So I sat there, and stupid like Valentine's Day was coming around the corner, and like I said, there's nothing I can do. Like I think ahead pretty far, and it just seemed like she was gonna suck his dick anyway. Like what? Like think about it and consider what the fuck someone in that situation can do. So I'm like, is this what you want? Like I go over there, introduce myself. I'm like, hey, take my phone number and call me later. And she says okay, and she does. Or she doesn't. And like I said, she sucks his dick that night. She gets fucked anyway in my name. So they're looking at me like some kind of like god who just enables people. That's not the role I chose or the role I'm comfortable in. It's clearly something people are abusing because this shit doesn't really make sense. I mean, it makes sense to me, but it seems like it doesn't make sense to everyone else. So that was stupid. So knowing that there's no fucking possible anything in that situation besides misery and me going home alone, I had to just drown it out. I wasn't gonna move seats because that kind of just empowers them. It's like, oh, it's working. Like we have an effect on him. Instead, it seems kind of better to sort of brave through it at some point. So what I did was close my eyes. I'm like, fuck these people. There's nothing I can do. Like, would have been better off getting off the train and leaving them to wallow in their own misery or something. I just didn't feel like it. So I just closed my eyes. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just started thinking. Something like 10 to 15 minutes later, I opened my eyes again, and I'm just quite surprised because there are 3 bitches copying me, and I'm like, why? Like before, their eyes were open, and the Mexican bitch was talking to her fucking chaperone, and that was it. So I closed my eyes, and what the fuck is going on now? So I opened them, and the guy, her chaperone, is just sitting there with his eyes open. He's like chilling, looking out the window, and the bitch like fell asleep, and she's leaning her head on his shoulder. I'm like, why is she doing? Like, she saw me close my eyes. I didn't like lean over. I just sat like this, like, all right. So it probably looked like I was sleeping, but this bitch must have saw me do that, and she did it too. Why? Like, why the fuck Are you gonna copy me like that? To make matters worse, across from me in my seat, not the opposing seat, but the one next over on the opposing side, so they're facing me, was a black dude and an Asian bitch. They looked together. They were doing the same thing too. Why and how? The black dude was sitting, like, looking like this is ridiculous. Like, he seemed to sympathize with me, seeing as how we're both colored males, and his Asian bitch also was sleeping with her eyes closed and her head leaning on his shoulder. Why were they doing that? Once I opened my eyes and saw that, like, once I noticed something may have been going on, I opened my eyes to see that. And I just thought that is fucking pathetic. Explain it some other way. Explain it in a way that makes it not seem pathetic. And I'll probably disagree with that viewpoint because it'll probably be BS. So I'm like, okay. So at that point, I just keep my eyes open, and because I wasn't tired at all, I just didn't want to see that shit, and I was trying to drown it out. But now I open my eyes, and I'm like, okay, I'll just like look out the window or something. This is ridiculous. So this is the main point related to what I was just saying earlier about it being BS and all that. So this is what it built up to. I could kind of assume what the people wanted. I was explaining it like this last night. It seems like people like want more stuff, like more words, like they need more ammo or ammunition. They need more like they need help with more material. They need more information and all that. They're like, hey, I need more material. Who, where can I get it from? They look to me for new stuff. Like they need new words, new ways of saying stuff, new darts, basically, for their phlegm, I guess, if you want to use a shamanic interpretation, which not many people are doing. And the people who pretend to already know all about it are liars, because 99% of them don't do the psychedelics, not the DMT, not the ayahuasca, not the LSD or mushrooms, not the salvia, not the weed. They just drink caffeine all day, coffee, soda, water. They probably don't even smoke cigarettes. They don't meditate. They don't do anything. They literally just spy all day on their neighbors. They don't do anything. So I was like, okay, I've been in this situation millions of times before. No, not literally millions of times, but many times. And so I knew that the only thing to do was to be quiet. Like I said, there's really no point introducing myself to her and giving her my phone number or something. Like that didn't make sense. So again, this is what it built up to. I'm reasonably certain that she wanted me to talk, but I'm like, no, I refuse to, no matter what, in any case. In a situation like that, it doesn't make sense at all. I can't be the only person thinking through it like that. In fact, it seems like other people just don't think through it. Like, I have to wonder, like, did you think through it at all? Like, are you compassionate enough to consider how I might feel about the whole thing? Clearly not. seem like it. Um, so this bitch wanted to see more phlegm. Uh, a good source of what phlegm is Singing to the Plants by Stefan V. Bayer. In that book, he writes that the phlegm is the shaman's source for healing or harming, meaning it's where darts come from. That is just a way of saying talking. So, long story short, the bitch, it's also blowing and sucking. They make blowing sounds with their mouth and sucking sounds with their mouth. It's about darts. Verodi, Zinzak, psychedelic stuff. It's something that you really only comprehend with experience. So a lot of these people are just not practitioners, which is fine. You could be whatever you want. You could be, you used to be able to be whatever you want, but now there's like people are trying to be communists and make everything one. I always wanted to be a shaman, or an ayahuasquero, or a curandero. You could be a cop, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a fucking chef, whatever. But now I'm pretty sure everyone wants to be an ayahuasquero because they're just copying me. I talked about this already. I wrote about it. You can read what I wrote. This is what my books are about. One that I posted online is in manuscript form. It's almost done. The other one I'm going to finish soon. People are going to buy it. I'm not giving it away for free for shit. Fuck that. Because too many pieces of shit think they deserve everything. Like they think they deserve to know everything. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I read all the books. You are the people who got the books from me. So you faggots need to stop pretending like you know better than me. That doesn't make sense. That mentality makes sense to me. I can see how it makes sense to other people, but it's wrong. Something wrong. You can still comprehend something that's wrong. So that really wasn't the best way of saying it. Perhaps I've said it better already. Different ways. I have to keep saying it. I realized this morning that most of this shit is stuff that I'm going to have to repeat over and over practically forever. It's not anything else. It's not something you could write a book about and just leave it at that. Even if the book is out and millions of people read it, you still have to talk about it. People forget, etc. So it gets like this, like the phlegm becomes a source of, call it passion and fire, like Ferenza, which is a Spanish word. So like they want you to be fierce, of course, but like I said, there's no point. Like bitch had a boyfriend already, so they're being manipulative. I'm reasonably certain she wanted to see the phlegm in action, like whatever she calls it. She didn't call it phlegm. That's what it is. In other words, she wanted to see me flip out and like call her boyfriend a faggot or something, but I wasn't gonna do it. There's no point. Like I said, she's just gonna suck his dick that night anyway. What's the fucking point? There's none! You bitches need to stop! That's what I'm talking about. It's a fucking conspiracy. I'm not playing with that fucking word because it's a fucking real one. Fuck the police. I don't give a fuck. Fuck the government. Fuck all these faggots who think they're controlling shit. Fuck the president. Fuck everything like that. It's BS. People are retarded now. It was different when I was growing up. After a certain point, something happened, and now the human race is different, and it's mostly out of anger, etc. So that's what happened. That's what it is. It's not really worth it. It's clear what happened. And it's clear what these people are doing. And it's not fair. So I keep going outside alone, and it shouldn't work. So I'm refusing to do anything. All these faggots who want me to write a book, I'm not doing it because I'm alone and it doesn't make sense. Anything else is a joke. I don't deserve whatever happened just because people didn't get the joke and they're pissed. It's easier to fool someone than to convince them they've been fooled. So again, with those two gibberish joke books that I posted online, I never said I wrote them. I just reposted them. I never said I did it, but it was a good way to find out who's been spying on me, because you could tell people know about it, and the way they react is evident. So that's what the purpose of those were for. Again, there's that stupid redhead bitch who posted a photo of herself online that started the whole thing, just because I didn't comment on it, and everyone went crazy and started being weird. All of those people need to get their fucking asses kicked. They need to get punched or shot in a limb at least. They need to get their asses beat. That faggot running the California Psychedelic Society page needs to get his fucking tooth knocked out. I literally am gonna kick the fucking shit out of him. I don't give a fuck what happens. I'll grab a baseball bat and bash his fucking head in. I don't give a fuck if I kill him in that way. And that, again, is that's what these people are doing. Like, they're doing it on purpose. I was gonna write this earlier, but I'll say it. I don't give a fuck about that faggot's worldview. I don't like how he perceives the world. I'll beat him to death. It's pretty simple. Anything else is BS. I don't want to hear any fucking stories about anyone else. Science, anything. It's BS. I've talked about all this already. I'm just inadvertently enabling people to do shit. I get nothing out of it. It's not really fair. So it's BS. And I'm glad I have some immunity, because there's no other way anything could happen. Like I said, it is a conspiracy. I don't give a fuck about anything else. I come from a background of science. I know this from that. The whole thing was pretty much a disinformation campaign, but it didn't really work, because every piece of shit on this planet thinks they deserve the best, which doesn't make sense. Even if they didn't do the hard work, they just think they deserve something. So something happened where these people have this problem. Every piece of shit Mexican person reproduces, with their piece of shit genes. The human race is gonna be shit soon enough. When I go outside, all I see is pieces of shit. Really, fat people and stupid people. And these are the people who reproduce. They say BS. people with low IQs reproduce more. Like, okay, my IQ is higher than most people. I used to post on INTP forum. Most people there are fucking stupid. I suggest you go there, intpforum.com, and read what happens. Sign up, make an account, because there are some hidden forums that only members could see. So I recommend you do that and read it. It's pretty stupid what happened. And it's fake. So, like, the past 10 years of my life have been a lie and fake because of that. You can see how trends occur and how some ability is gauged in the wild like that. So it's like intelligence just means survival capability, I guess. It has nothing to do with memorizing facts. Like I said, I used to be a science person, but it got me nowhere. It got me no pussy. And it was the artists who were getting pussy. So I switched to mainly art. I was like, I can infuse my science background with art. But that didn't work. I'm not saying like the best artist in the world, but they switched it so now science gets pussy and art is bullshit. But that's what I'm talking about. People just switch whatever I do. So it's that, and then there's the whole King Arthur thing. People are trying to do whatever with it, like that. Shit's kind of done already. It's just stupid. Like, they don't listen to me. No one else is really gonna say, like, whoever says it next is probably gonna get like credit for it. So that's what it was about. Like, people just kept ignoring me whenever I would say something. No one would say anything. So I had to test it out that way, and all that. I talk about this like every fucking day. Um, People just don't get it, nor do they comprehend how time works. Not the same way I do, apparently. I just think they'd be less retarded if they really knew how the world worked. Not so much how the world works, but how physics works. Something which governs the laws of bacteria and everything else. So this isn't the podcast I was doing. I was doing another